And welcome to the Free Your Geek podcast. I am your host, Jay Free. To my left, my co-host, a gentleman by the name of KB.
What's going on, brother?
And KB and I are very, very excited to have in studio today a man simply known as The Don. Hello, The Don.
How's it going, guys?
Good, good. So you'll recognize that voice that was on the other end from last week's show on the telephone, basically telling us how wrong we were about the Infinity Stones, about the which one was it? The Mind Gem?
It was the Mind Gem.
Yeah, it was the Mind Gem. So he kind of he enlightened us. He brought us to a higher plane of enlightenment and explained to us exactly where the Mind Gem was used to enlighten. To help Ultron, essentially, right? And Loki to an extent. So we were talking a little bit offline after the show ended, and I said, dude, why don't you come on the show? And you gave us a very resounding yes.
God, yes.
Which is awesome. So thank you for being on the show first and
that
foremost.
was such a key moment that we missed, because that's a key moment in the movie.
It is, but it's, we have so many things.
Yeah.
We miss things,
Yep.
I mean, it happens, and I like being told when I'm wrong. I like being corrected, oddly enough. But again, you didn't do it in a dickish way, and that's what I think is awesome. I'm always about, if I say something wrong, and you can go back to our old podcast and listen, I say things wrong all the time. Feel free to correct me, because sometimes I slip the incorrect words in. I think we were talking about Ghost Rider once, and I called him Johnny Blade instead of Johnny Blaze, like a moron, and I realized that after the fact. I don't mind. Just don't be a dick about it. And that's why we're glad to have you here. But before we get into your interview, you see here on the table, KB brought some of his collectibles. KB, why don't you talk about some of what are those collectibles right there?
We have a John Spartan Master Chief bobblehead from Halo. We have a Batman Arkham City.
Were you coughing because you were going to do the Batman voice?
Yeah, I
you were trying to clear.
No.
Okay.
And then we have the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure.
So that is from what? That's from the Marvel Legends line.
Yes, Marvel Legends series. Yep.
And what are those three collectibles? What are they surrounding?
Oh, they're surrounding our prize.
Our giveaway. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those that are new and haven't seen last week's episode, what you see in between all those collectibles, that is a Cody box. And generously donated by our sponsor and our friends at Unique Customs. So anyone that shares this video, either now or during the completion of the podcast, you have until Monday, the 21st, I believe it is.
To share it as much as you can, right?
Share it as much as you want. You'll be entered to win a free Cody box. And what is a Cody box? Do you happen to know, the Don?
I actually do.
Okay. Do you want? Why don't we, being new to the show, do you want to kind of give it a plug too? Because we plugged it last week. But go ahead. What do you have you used one before, or do you just know what it does?
I have not used one, but to my knowledge, a Cody box is the upgrade version of like an Amazon Fire Stick.
It's like 1,000 times better. So it's free. You can put a bunch of different apps on there. You can put streaming subscription services. You can watch live TV. You can put apps. You can do all kinds of things on this Cody box. And they're giving this away free to one lucky winner, whoever shares this video or shares our podcast. We'll be dropping the audio version on our Facebook page, Free Your Geek Podcast on Facebook. And if you share that as well, regardless if you share the video, which will also be on the page, by the way, or the audio version of the podcast, you can absolutely be entered to win this free Cody box. Again, Unique Customs. Check them out. Their link is in the description of this video as well. They do a lot of cool things, from repairing to like labels and whatnot. They do all kinds of unique customs, which is a great name for a company. That being said, we'll also be talking about our other sponsor, Pachico's Furniture, another great store. If you're looking for furniture, DVDs, any type of Blu-rays, we'll be running that commercial a little bit later at halftime. But now that we got all that out of the way, all the housekeeping agenda information, we're going to go back to the Don. And I was going to play the theme from The Godfather, since we're calling him the Don. Hey. But with Facebook Live kind of restricting us a little bit with copyright material, we're going to just do a quick little intro. And I want to say, first of all, again, welcome to Free Your Geek. And secondly, let's learn a little bit more about the Don, shall we? First, let's just give me some background about yourself. We're recording in Fall River, Mass., so I'm assuming you're from the area.
I am, yes, born and raised.
Because we wouldn't have you if you lived in Michigan or something. So born and raised in Fall River, so you're still in the same general area, and you're a geek.
Total geek.
Okay, we can tell by your Marvel shirt, which is awesome. Marvel superheroes. I love the Hulk and Spider-Man right on the front of that. Let's talk about, what are you a geek for? What do you geek out about and why?
I definitely geek out about movies, superheroes. My biggest obsession's TV shows. I get really, really engulfed in TV shows. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a completely sci-fi TV show or fantasy TV show, which are my favorite, but it doesn't have to be that.
All right, so we're going to put a pause right there. So now, TV shows, what are you watching right now? What can you recommend to the listeners or to the viewers?
Westworld. If you haven't watched Westworld, you need to get on that show.
We're gonna be doing a show about that soon, because I think you and I were talking offline about this. Have you seen it, KB, at all?
I heard about it, but haven't seen it yet.
It's amazing. I've watched the first episode, and I'm hooked. I just haven't had the time.
How far in is it right now?
I think, like 5 or 6 right now?
There's only 2 episodes left.
But it's one of those short seasons. It's like a Game of Thrones or whatnot. 8 to 10 episodes,
Yep.
and they're an hour long. It's on HBO, so it's can do the really cool the violence, the sex, the language, the brutality, the gruesomeness, all that stuff kind of rolled in, and the concept is crazy. So I've only seen the first episode, so I'm not, without giving away spoilers. Can you give us a synopsis of kind of what it's about?
So Westworld is actually based off a 1973 movie by the same name, where there's a futuristic park where this guy creates, I don't want to call them androids, but for the most part, like these bots are in this world for very rich people to go and
Do whatever with, basically.
absolutely whatever.
So it's kind of like almost like to me, it kind of reminds me of almost like a Jurassic Park, but like where you, instead of just like seeing dinosaurs, you get to kind of like live your own Western adventure with the use of these bots.
Yeah.
Taking on different roles. So, and then there's some stuff that's going on. I've only seen the first episode, so I'm not going to spoil it either in case you haven't, because it is a new series. But there's also like things, it's almost like a mystery or like there's other things underlying under the surface. It's not just a story about people that want to go to this Western village and then interact with these bots. Things are happening with the bots that we can't really talk about without spoiling anything, right? Unless you can do it spoiler free. You can try.
I mean, I haven't seen the show, and I haven't seen it at all. So, but from what I heard, isn't it something like the bots start to rebel in some shape or form?
Well,
something
I
like that.
can't say anything about that because that might be spoilerish territory. And
I'm just going broad. I'm just going broad on it.
I would say, broadly speaking, that the bots aren't really rebelling so much, but there are certain things that are going on with these
programming might be kind of wonky with the bots.
Yeah, I couldn't really say too much.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Spoilers,
So,
so.
yeah, and I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Like I said, so the first episode got me hooked. I just, between doing the show and doing whatever, podcast and work and life in general,
And watching every DC show.
and watching every DC show, because that's something we talked about. You're not
yeah.
really into the CW DC stuff. That's kind of my bread and butter. I love that stuff. Gotham, though, too.
Yep.
You Gotham?
I fell off on season 1.
Okay.
As soon as it took that break, I couldn't continue to follow it.
That's okay. So Westworld is your kind of like your go-to now. Anything else TV-wise that you're really into?
So right now I'm watching a show on Hulu called Chance with Hugh Laurie from House. He's the main character in that. I enjoy it. It's good. I'm looking forward to the new Man in the High Castle. I don't know if
we were talking about that. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's that comes back in December. What else am I watching?
What are your feelings on The Walking Dead right now? Are you watching? Or?
There you go. That's my other show. It's Walking Dead. Last week's episode got me fired up. I understand.
So, yeah, we're gonna put a spoiler tag right here. If you haven't seen last Sunday's episode, we're not going to get into it too much, but yeah, it was interesting. Negan is got everybody screwed up.
Oh yeah,
Big time.
He's got everybody screwed up. Daryl and Rick, I'm not going to get into too much, but they're messed up. He's got their hold on them.
Okay, so
we can talk about it. We can talk about it. We'll put the spoiler tag out there. You got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Go for it.
So it does seem as if Negan's got this grip over Daryl. But as you can see, all over the internet, Did you see the Morse code?
Could it be? Did they allude to anybody knowing Morse code? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I like there was one scene where Negan hands Rick Lucille.
Yeah.
And there's that scene where Negan kind of walks away a little bit, walks into the foreground a little bit more, and you see the grip tighten on the
Rick's
bat.
hand. Yeah.
And then he lets it go. And it's just, that's such a powerful scene to me because Rick is being like, he's under the thrall. He's being controlled. He knows he can't attack Negan.
Something so subtle, so powerful.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So Walking Dead, obviously, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else besides TV? What you mentioned superheroes. The movies or more comic books? Both?
I wish I could say comic books, but I'm big on animated series. Like anything like superhero related cartoons, big with those. Movies, I'm always looking forward to the next superhero movie. Video games.
So did you see The Killing Joke?
I've not seen The Killing Joke. I have not.
We had mixed feelings about it.
We had mixed feelings. Have you read The Killing Joke?
No.
Okay. The book reads better than, in my opinion, than the movie does. The movie tries to, and again, just my opinion, they try to put more of a backstory on Batgirl to give it more of an impact when what happens. I don't think they pulled it off successfully. But Kevin Conroy voicing Batman and Mark Hamill voicing the Joker, amazing. And Mark Hamill's got a bit in there where I was kind of in the theater when I was watching it. I'm like, this is so stupid. But like if you're watching it like alone and the creepiness is getting to you, his performance there makes, and we'll talk off air about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. But it's so creepy. And I it's a different film. It's a different animation, it's a different feel. But we were talking again off air and through Facebook and whatnot. And KB, we need you to prepare for this when we do this episode. But we're gonna do a top 5. We're gonna do an all countdown show, top 5 Batman the Animated Series episodes, and more than likely a top 5 X-Men animated series episodes.
I would love that.
Okay.
And I've already been preparing for the Batman
Okay,
one.
good.
Oh yeah.
Good. I'm such a fan. Those are like growing up my 2 favorite cartoons.
You got to throw Spider-Man in there too.
Spider-Man, so Spider-Man is not as, I don't revere that as much just because it was a different vibe to me. But no, Spider-Man, the cartoon, I watched that religiously, but I haven't rewatched it since probably I was 12 years old, 13 years old. So, that is not as ingrained in my mind. But maybe what we'll do is maybe the next time we have you on and we do like an animated type thing, maybe we'll let you give your top 5 just in general to enlighten us again who may need to be re-educated on that series, and you can kind of give us why you think. Because I remember the thing about Spider-Man is they couldn't say that they killed anybody.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, and I get it even as a kid. And I think all like the guns were they G.I. Joe guns where they were shooting lasers? Yeah, they were all blasters. They were stuns, and it was okay, but to me it's like nothing is more powerful to me. And again, it's not going to be one of my episodes, but the first Night of the Sentinels of X-Men animated series with Morph, that to me, like the fact that they alluded to the fact that he died is amazing. Granted, we'll get to that, maybe later. We'll talk about that. But so animated series, anything more current that you're into as far as animated stuff goes?
I don't want to say because it ties into my top 3 later. And I don't
okay.
Give one
Zip
of
it up.
away.
Zip it up. Nope.
Right.
That's final countdown stuff.
One more thing that he mentioned that I want to touch on. You said gaming.
Absolutely.
So him and I, DCU Online.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about that a little bit. Well, you see, now you're blowing our cover. PS4 or Xbox?
PS4 all day.
Are you playing DC Universe Online?
So the first week I got my PS4, I saw that DC Online was on there, and I made myself a character, got all fired up about it, and I couldn't get out of the police station or that first area where everyone's running around.
Because this is the thing, KB and I play that not religiously anymore since the start of this show.
But we've been playing for 8 years.
We've been playing for 8 years, and we're always looking to build our league.
Yeah.
So anybody with a PS4 that comes on, they're like, are you playing DCU? Because we need you to be on our team. So no pressure. But
And we can get you going really quickly.
yeah, we can level you up quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than PS4, what are some of the games that you're playing now?
I am completely obsessed with zombies. Call of Duty Zombies. I can play it until like the early hours of the morning. But let's see. Most recent, I mean, I just picked up Infinite Warfare yesterday. Not a fan of the multiplayer, really. I got it really for the Modern Warfare remastered and for the Zombies in Spaceland.
Yeah.
Whew, that 80s vibe.
Yeah.
The final countdown.
Well, there you go. I'm going to just record your voice and use that as my intro. Instead, that way, if we're worried about copyright issues, we're all set there. So, are you predominantly a first-person shooter?
No, not really. It's with first-person shooters, I can just never get sick of them. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't have to invest anything in them. I
absolutely get that.
I was getting the itch to buy Skyrim, but I also already paid Final Fantasy 15 off, which comes out the end of the month, and I am so stoked for that. And that's where I'm going to invest my time.
Well, I have a buddy of mine. Speaking of Skyrim, who I played, the Elder Scrolls, back when it was on PS3, and he's like, "You're going to buy that again?" I'm like, "I would love to, but I can't justify spending that money again for." I mean, I get lost in that game. Like, I will be, full gray beard, by the time I'm done playing that game.
Gandalf.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. You shall not pass. I won't do that. But all right. Well, so welcome to the show, the Don. Or we're gonna just call you Don for now because putting the in front of it makes you seem like the Rock, and I don't want to be calling you. I'm just gonna call you Don.
Do you smell what the Don is cooking?
There you go.
Got the Don's eyebrow.
Ooh. All right. Very cool. So let's get into some. Format here. We're gonna go into our first segment, and we call that industry news. So real quick, just two little quick topics, one industry news and one the next episode. So the first thing is comes from Superhero Hype, and there was a special screening and question and answer for Deadpool, and we've all seen Deadpool and loved it, I'm assuming. Yes?
I was a big fan.
Yes. So the writers, Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, revealed that when writing the character of Negasonic Teenage Warhead, they needed to get permission from Marvel since they altered her character because she's psychic, and they changed her powers, they changed her look around. Marvel was willing to accept those changes on the condition that Fox gave them a character from their library, specifically Ego, the Living Planet, who we know will be then Star-Lord's father in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So to think about that, we want to change a character so drastically that we still kind of technically own the rights to, because if I'm not mistaken, Negasonic Teenage Warhead is still a mutant, so it's still technically owned by Fox, but because they're making alterations to the character, Marvel kind of they said, well, you need to let us use Ego because we want to use that for Guardians. And James Gunn, via his official Facebook, said, when I first pitched Ego as Quill's father, I thought we owned the character. After I'd worked out a very elaborate story with Ego as a very important part of the cosmic universe, I learned we actually didn't own the character. I had no backup plan, and it would be nearly impossible to just drop another character in. Thank God Fox came to us and wanted to make a trade. So it almost seems like the cart was before the horse there, and they kind of lucked out. So I'm very excited to see what they do with Ego, the Living Planet. So we're on a space theme here because one of the other things that Don didn't mention, big Star Wars fan,
Huge.
So he's big into Star Wars. So I was going to lead with that, but we didn't even touch upon that during the interview. But it's one of those things where, again, big Star Wars fan. We're going to be talking a lot about space. So Ego, the Living Planet, is our first piece. Any other thoughts on that, or as far as Guardians go too?
I'm psyched for Guardians. I really am.
You sound it.
I mean, it's just going to be just seeing that first trailer that came out. The trailers has just been.
Who are you more excited? I'll ask this to both of you. Who are you more excited to see work with the Guardians, Yondu or Nebula?
Nebula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any particular reason why?
I think the Gamora relationship. How is that going to play out?
See, what I found very interesting. Actually, I find Nebula to be a beast. I mean, that fight between her and Gamora was amazing. I wanted to see more of her in that movie, and looks like we're gonna get that.
That looks. I mean, I'm excited for that. I'm also excited because I love Michael Rooker, and I just want to see. I loved his character of Yondu. I want to see what he does. But real quick, I just want to say, give a shout out to Jeff Priest, who basically says that they're rebooting the entire X-Men movie starting from scratch because Fox basically fucks everything up, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree. There's a meme out there with for Logan where essentially Hugh Jackman as Logan turns to Xavier And he goes, by the way, Charles, what timeline are we in? And Xavier turns to him and says, who cares? Just enjoy the fucking movie. But that to me, I'm a big continuity person too, and I couldn't stand, like, they took liberties with all the characters. Emma Frost was in First Class, but she was also in Wolverine Origins and things like that. They messed it up. If they can start from scratch, I just say give the rights back to Marvel, seriously, or do like a Sony deal with Spider-Man and just do that and get your universe straight. But so any other things before we move on to the next episode?
Real quick though.
Yeah, go for it.
There is an explanation on the X-Men timelines. The movies were very poorly done, but actually I read a whole article on it and how they ended up splitting timelines and everything. The Wolverine Origins is the only movie that threw the entire rest of the universe off. It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one where Cyclops is a kid? Isn't that the first one where he's
right?
He's
and
off.
Wolverine frees him from the training camp, and Emma Frost is there turning into Diamond. Yet 20 years earlier, she's a full-grown adult. It's a whole messed up thing. But yes, if they can do it right, or and I think First Class, even though I had problems with like the geek in me, there's no way that Havoc should be the older brother, and I could put those things aside if it was set in the 60s and they were rebooting the universe as such.
Yeah.
But it just they messed everything up there. But all right, let's talk about that. Which, speaking of film and keeping our space theme, let's jump into the next episode.
Previously on Lost.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive.
Hold up. Wait. Woman, you think we saw? We don't play. We gon' rock it till the wheels fall off. Hold up. Wait. Woman, so we acting too bold. Take a seat. Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.
The next episode, where we talk about either a movie, TV show coming down the pipeline, or something that we watched recently and we enjoyed. And I got this also from Superhero Hype. Let's just say that there's an animated series coming out based on a team called Justice League Dark. It's going to be rated R, which is awesome. Again, Killing Joke, Jeff Priest, by the way, did not like The Killing Joke, and I agree with him for certain pieces. The book is a way better read. There's certain creepy pieces, as I mentioned, but I agree pretty much with what he said. But the next episode here is Justice League Dark. So there's an animated film coming out in 2017, and the film is set to feature the voice talents of Jason O'Mara as Batman, Matt Ryan as John Constantine. I don't know if you ever watched the Constantine series on NBC. It was amazing, and I'm so pissed that they canceled it. Camilla Luddington of Tomb Raider fame as Zatanna, Nicholas Turturro as Deadman, Ray Chase as Jason Blood Etrigan, with Jerry O'Connell as Superman and Rosario Dawson as Wonder Woman. So new members of the cast have been revealed as well, including Jeremy Davies as Richie, Enrico Colantuoni as Felix Faust, Alfred Molina, Doc Ock, really? Alfred Molina as Destiny, and Roger R. Cross as both Swamp Thing and Jon Stewart. So I don't know if you're basically Justice League Dark, and I don't know if you're as familiar with that, but it's essentially the Justice League, but with dealing with magic.
Yeah.
And also, I'm kind of pissed that they didn't put Martian Manhunter on the team, because again, we got to kind of tie this to space. And if Superman's the only alien, I'm kind of bullshit about that, because I think Martian Manhunter, you can do a lot more with him.
Think so.
Any thoughts on that? Any other? Have you watched? And I'll ask this to both of you because we really haven't discussed this. DC animated movies. Have you?
I think I seen Flashpoint.
Flashpoint's amazing.
Yeah.
War was incredible.
War was good.
I think those are the two that I've seen.
Under the Red Hood, I really like that too.
I watched Under the Red Hood, the little Robin story.
Yeah, Jason Todd, and
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really cool too. So,
Son of Batman.
Son of Batman was good. I like that. Yeah, there's been a couple of good. I think DC, where they kind of lack in the feature film in the theaters type of thing, they make up for a lot of it with their animated flicks, and depending on your feelings on the CW shows. I like them, but I mean, Flash specifically because I feel that's the most comic book-like TV show right now. But I think they're killing it there, and Marvel's just killing it.
I just started Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Awesome.
Season one?
Yeah, I'm
Season
like
one?
halfway through
Season
season
2,
one.
in my opinion, season 2 is way better, but just because I like the characters better in season 2. But we'll talk about that down the pipeline. So anything else before we're going to jump into break here, and then we'll be back in a few?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, folks, we'll be back, and hopefully we don't get flagged for this. I found a Marvel rap that uses the Spider-Man animated theme as its beat.
Oh, that's great.
So hopefully Facebook doesn't. If Facebook fails on it, we'll be right back. So hang tight, and we'll be back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Are you ready to upgrade your office space or living area for an affordable price? Stop by Pachico's Furniture, where you can expect a delightful shopping experience, all while saving you some of your hard-earned money. Pachico's Furniture specializes in used furniture, antiques, jewelry, electronics, video games, Blu-ray, DVD, musical instruments, and much, much more. Whether buying or selling, we strive on being Fall River's finest secondhand store. Pachico's Furniture is a family-owned and operated business located on 663 Bedford Street, formerly Billy's Cafe, in Fall River, Massachusetts. Come on by, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Bang, 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 bang. Deadpool, I'm a juggernaut, letting off Iron Man for my mission of joining the Illuminati, and ain't no one stopping my vision. I'm a beast, you're a wasp, I can shoot the wings off a falcon from a mile away. I got hawk eyes, if I'm mad enough, I'll move mountains. Hulking, maniac, my name gon' stretch like Mr. Fantastic. If you choose not to stay low-key, when I wave this forward, it's gon' be tragic. Throw with the hammer, but I turn the love of your life to a black widow. You would swear a black cat just crossed your path, when a racist steal like Magneto, because you're out of luck. I'll even bring a Dr. Doom if he's on my block, or roll crawling through the night. Anybody looking at me wrong's gonna be leaving a Cyclops. X-Man trying to match with me, I ain't guarding a galaxy. See my Doctor Strange, my last checkup, he said I was a masterpiece. Hairpin trigger, waving this quicksilver. I can shoot legs off of ants, man, my aim makes me shiver. Now you can sit and wonder, man, if you feel the need to, but I ain't Susan Richards, I ain't nothing you can see through. Keeping that thing on me, offering you foods for the sport. When I letting that flame off, flame on, all you humans are torched. I've been inhuman, word to the black bolt, and more black than the Panther. Ask Iceman, I'm that cold. My mind will give Emma Frost massive hysteria. Even Captain America can get Captain America in broad daylight. They say I'm a savage cause I blow up every time I show my hand. That's Gambit, I got a red bone, that's a scarlet witch that knows changing my reality's the hardest trick. Cause I try to be an angel, but life turns to a movie scene where I show I got the temper of a damn Wolverine. Put metal to your body like Colossus. So who's
And
next?
welcome back to Free Your Geek. That is an artist by the name of 6 Seconds. So that's VI Seconds, SECONDS. I will include the link on our audio on the show notes, and I'll put it in the video a little bit later. But that kid is amazing. He's got a DC one that I'm going to try to play next week or maybe the week after. Facebook didn't flag that, so I was happy about that. But I downloaded that song. That song is amazing. Again, I'll put his YouTube page and his stuff on the video and on the show notes there. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to go into my personal favorite segment, and this is where we rank our top 3, and we call this segment, we call it the Final Countdown.
It's the final countdown. The final countdown. Yeah. Whoa.
The Final Countdown. So what we do here, Don, so since you're new, but you've listened to the podcast, this is where we have a different theme each week, and we rank either our top 5, our top 10, our top 3, depending on the number of guests. And the theme this week is top 3 space characters. So this is not necessarily has to be an alien, but it's a character that works or is used predominantly in an outer space environment. So if you want to use somebody from Star Trek or Star Wars, even though they're human-like or an actual human like the Enterprise folks, you can use them. If you want to use a character from TV like Alf or somebody like Roger from American Dad, you can feel
Shouldn't
free
give
to
away
do
your
that.
number one already, Jeff.
Well, I've been going through all that stuff, and Don had a tell right there. So my bad. I didn't know. So the fun thing about this is we don't tell each other our picks. So I'm spouting off the top of my head right now. So we're gonna go. If there's any honorable mentions, we can give those first. Does anybody have any honorable mentions? Don, KB.
You want to talk about some of our reasoning? Maybe a little different.
Well, I have some honorable mentions, but if
Okay.
you have reasonings, we'll go. So I'll go first
Yeah.
because it's my show. Why not? So here are my just a couple of honorable mentions. Hawkman, because I love Hawkman. Superman, because he's kind of the quintessential alien from. I know, thumbs down. I'm not a big fan of Superman. Don't get me wrong. I think Superman is overpowered and overused, but I'm saying without Superman, we don't necessarily have the whole myriad of characters that we have now. So and that's why he's not on my list. He's an honorable mention because he's kind of important in that sense. And then we talked a little bit about Star Trek. I got to give a shout out to Leonard Nimoy, Spock. See, I can't do that with my hand. Don's doing it though. Amazing character. I love, kind of like the quintessential geeky, like the go-to for when you hear geeks, you think, oh, people that like Star Trek that think Spock is amazing, and there's a reason why that's true. So that's why he's my honorable mentions. But KB, go ahead. Why? What are your reasonings?
Well, space characters is very broad. So I was trying to think of like, okay, well, what is my criteria? Because if you kind of just randomize it, I was having a hard time. And to me, it was like, I think the best space characters are the ones that are saving the entire universe. The ones that are just badass, have to be absolutely badass, saving the entire universe, and their back is constantly against the wall. And what I found when I did this line of thought was that all my characters ended up being video game characters.
That's awesome.
Because if you think about a lot of the big space video games current in the past 10 years, there's a lot of those characters that are badass, have had to go up against the wall, have been beaten down, get back up, that kind of thing, and are saving the entire universe or galaxies. So I thought of it more on a massive scale.
Okay. Now, Don, do you have any criteria, or do you just said we're taking this very broad topic, and we're going to just go with it?
I wish I would have thought of Roger from America.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I didn't give away. Oh, thank God. I felt like such an asshole when I was like, I just gave away one of his picks.
Oh,
like
his character's incredible.
amazing, right? But that would count. So I guess it's interpreted differently by different people. So KB's all comic books.
Video games.
Video games, sorry. Mine's mostly comic books except for one. That's actually an animated series, and it's not Roger. So, Don, why don't you start with your number 3 pick then?
All right, so I just gotta throw this out there. Everyone who knows me is like, oh, Don's top 3 is gonna be all Star Wars. It's gonna be all Star Wars. They're very close, but they're not the characters that you would usually think. My number 3 is Ventress from Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Yes. Yes.
She is an animal.
Yes.
One of the only characters I've ever seen piece up Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker at the same time.
Yeah.
And she also went up against Dooku. She's teamed up with Obi-Wan. She's teamed up with Ahsoka. She is amazing.
She's badass.
Yeah.
She is. Her character is so well put together. She's a little loopy, but I like that.
But that's what makes the character much more engaging and interesting to watch and to see how that plays out. To have almost like a loose cannon, if you will.
Yeah.
Like someone's a little off kilter, but still kind of badass. It's like, that's
Cool. I always wanted to see like what a live version of her would look like.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's your number 3?
Definitely.
Okay, KB.
My number 3, the Master Chief.
Awesome.
John
Halo.
Spartan 117. Halo, yep.
I'm going to be so lost with this. So please, go.
So if anybody who doesn't know Halo is basically the story of try not to give a ton of it away, but basically these giant ring-like planets, and there was a past race called the Forerunners, and there was this threat called the Flood a long, long time ago, and the Forerunners created these rings to basically wipe out not just the Flood, but the entire universe. The Flood feeds off of other people and grows. So basically these rings are designed to destroy the entire universe. Master Chief is basically in the Navy. Well, it's funny how a lot of these space games, when they're out of space, they're called the Navy. They're not the Air Force. You notice that? But basically...
Because they use ships.
Yeah. And they can do starboard and... yeah. But basically, he is... As a child, he was put in this program with a bunch of other kids that were kidnapped and put in this program. Mm-hmm. And they get their bodies augmented both biomechanically and biochemically, if I'm saying that right.
I don't know.
Well,
Sounded
basically,
about right.
they survive. The ones that survive this process go on to be these super soldiers. and they get armor and the best weaponry and the best training. And what's interesting is they also, the Master Chief has an onboard AI called Cortana, and Cortana is like his brain, not his brain, but his strategist, his logic, his everything. She has access to everything. She's the most advanced AI that exists. And basically fighting this group of radicals called the Covenant that believes the Halo rings are like the savior, are going to save the universe with the Halo rings. And I'm not going too far I don't want to go too far in the story, but basically the Master Chief is just such a badass. Like the Covenant calls him the Demon. He is so feared that they call him the Demon as they're screaming and running away. Can use any weapon, can drive any vehicle, just all around badass. And some of the things that he does, jumping out of I think in Halo 2 is jumping out of a space station with a giant bomb and flying it down to the planet and just up against all odds. Again, back against the wall, badass in saving the universe. So that's my number 3, John Spartan, the Master Chief.
My number 3, they first appeared on this TV show in season 2. The title of the episode was Treehouse of Horror. They've appeared in all 26 Treehouse of Horror specials. They speak Rigelian, which coincidentally is exactly like English. And my favorite moment of them is when they both take the place of Bob Dole and Bill Clinton during the election. And the main character of Homer Simpson says, "Don't blame me, I voted for Kodos." My number 3 pick from The Simpsons is Kang and Kodos. I just think that as like a stereotypical, they look like, kind of like blobs and they just have the best personalities and just the absurdity of what they do in The Simpsons, specifically in the Treehouse of Horror series, I think is absolutely amazing, and they're so entertaining. So that's my number 3 pick.
Iconic.
Kang and Kodos, iconic. And whatever, all the 26 Treehouse of Horror episodes. So they've been used yearly 26 times. For 26 years, they've been entertaining. So that's why they're my number 3. So moving on to number 2, Don, what is your number 2 pick?
All right, so number 2, big fan of Star Wars. So number 2 again, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's the quintessential character for me from Star Wars. Like, you can throw any other character. Obi-Wan is my guy.
Yeah, see, a lot of people hated the prequels. I appreciate the prequels.
I liked his character in the prequels.
Yeah.
Was it Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor,
Yeah.
He
killed it.
He did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't even.
It's one of the bright spots of the prequels.
Absolutely. In the prequels and in the Clone Wars are the only glimpses of amazing lightsaber fights. Like, you don't get that in like our trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what we grew up on. You get like those few very corny lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
It's more story based.
I think Samuel L. Jackson was on the record of saying the prequel trilogies, episodes 1 through 3, had the better lightsaber fights and just the kick-ass light. Yeah, and I agree with that totally. Like when Yoda fought the Emperor,
when he fought
and
the
Dooku,
Emperor.
both
Yeah.
in both cases, And I think my favorite one is I know everybody gives episode 1 a lot of shit, but when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are fighting Darth Maul, and there's that scene where Qui-Gon and Darth Maul get split up.
Yeah,
and Qui-Gon, you see the difference. Qui-Gon.
I was going to say that. That's my favorite.
That's like one of my favorite scenes. For all the shit you can give episode 1, that was
Midi-chlorians.
It doesn't matter.
Just like I know something, midi-chlorians.
No, I can say no. And by the way, I have a really bad joke that I'll tell you guys. I don't want to tell it on air because it's going to kill any credibility I have. But I made up a really stupid joke at work today, and it's a Star Wars themed joke. So I'll tell you guys off air.
All right.
I don't want to give too much away to the listeners. Anything else to it that you want to add?
I mean, you can. Everyone looks at Obi-Wan like he's like like the perfect Jedi, but he also had a past. I mean, he was very much similar to Anakin, except he didn't go he didn't throw all his cards in and go like sneak away with Padme and everything. He had a love interest as well. These things come out in Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated series.
Yep.
He's also done some amazing undercover missions. Like we only get, unless you really dive into Star Wars, like as far as the Clone Wars go, or like right now there's Star Wars Rebels, which I'm not too big of a fan of, but I mean you're getting more of the story.
Clone Wars puts a lot out there that you don't think about. And there was a Clone Wars on Cartoons Network before that did before this one.
Yeah.
That before the last one. That had a lot too of Anakin getting up to being a master. I don't know if you've seen that one.
That's so the one that was on Cartoon Network. That is the Clone Wars. The one that's on Disney XD right now is Star Wars Rebels, which that actually picks up almost where Rogue One is actually. Like it's in that same time frame.
So that's your number 2.
2, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Number 2, Obi-Wan. Moving on to KB's number 2.
My number 2. Interestingly, can be a guy or a girl. Commander Shepard of Mass Effect. So Mass Effect is basically a game, had 3 games, and Commander Shepard is a lieutenant commander in the Systems Alliance N7 Special Forces kind of thing. Basically gets sent on a mission, and they run into this giant, massive ship destroying one of the Earth colonies called a Reaper. And basically, what we find out later on in the game is these Reapers, every 50,000 years, they come back. They hide in deep space. And every 50,000 years, they come back. They destroy the entire galaxy and everything and take all the resources and then come back in another 50,000 years when it's replenished. So talk about going up against something that is just, an undertaking. A lot of interesting things happen to this character, and the game's fantastic. Lots of great alien races, great stories, great characters. They're coming out with a 4th game soon. But basically, in the game, there's a council of aliens, and they live on this Citadel station, like in central space. And they have these groups called Spectres. They're people that live above the law, and aliens that live above the law and can do the will of the council to keep the universe safe. And she, whatever you played the character as, becomes the first human Spectre. And so there's a lot of alien relations of people not being happy with this, and people saying that the character Shepard's not worthy. Lots of great, just great story. Basically, then that's mostly the first game. In the second game, the character dies and is brought back to life by a pro-human movement group called basically called Cerberus, and led by this man called the Elusive Man, who's anti-alien, kind of like how Donald Trump is today.
Let's not get
not
political.
Go political.
Stop it.
But anyway, so but he's a very anti-alien, so he wants the human race to use alien technology to get ahead
and build a wall.
And build a wall. I'm sorry I started it. I apologize, Jeffrey.
We're not getting political. This is about geekdom.
But basically, what we find out in this is that the Reapers have taken over other races and have them help them. So races from the previous cycle, and they run into this group called the Collectors that's collecting humans from other colonies. It's just such a great series. But it's all out war in the last game. In the last game, the character has this insane choice to make. And they have 4 choices. The character had 4 choices. Destroy the Reapers and save the universe. Okay. But the universe is already kind of destroyed at this point because of the damage they've done, so rebuilding is tough. Take control of the Reapers. Take control of the Reapers, and basically that's kind of with the Cerberus thing of taking over their technology and taking them over. Refusal. Just flat out refusing to do what has to be done, and everybody just dies. But the third one, which is the one that I chose in the game, was Synthesis. Basically, he jumps into this laser that was going to destroy everything, and basically, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Fuses together the alien technology and the organics and become like a one race kind of thing. So just really awesome game. And again, badass character, back against the wall. And Jay Freeze just he's not a gamer, so
no, it's fine. We're not losing viewers right now. I'm just messing with you. No, it's a great pick. I'm not a big gamer, like you said. I haven't played that game, so I don't know the.
But it's awesome. You're missing a great story. Good story.
Number 2.
Yep, it's my number 2.
My number 2, and I'll keep it quick. My number 2 is the Silver Surfer. Norin Rad from the planet Zen-La. He bargains. Galactus is about to eat his planet, destroy his world, and destroy his lover, Shalabal. Galactus gives him a portion of the power cosmic and turns him into the Silver Surfer because he bargained and became his herald. He seeks out planets for Galactus, keeps bringing him different planets. Galactus feasting on him, eventually brings him to Earth. Surfer meets the Fantastic Four, meets Alicia Masters, ends up turning against Galactus. Galactus, in retaliation, then banishes him to Earth, puts like a barrier up that he can't escape. Eventually, with the help of Mr. Fantastic, he was able to get through the barrier, and he realizes that his home planet has been ravaged by Galactus. But his love, Shalabal, is not dead. She was kidnapped by Mephisto, and she was brought to Earth. So knowing that he has to go back to Earth and, again, potentially be trapped there again, he returns to Earth to save her. As she's leaving and being saved and she's going back to her home planet, he gives her a piece of his power cosmic, and she uses it to restore the plant life on Zenlaw. He then forms a group with Hulk and Namor called the Titans 3. And then a little bit later on, a gentleman that we just saw last week, or 2 weeks ago, Doctor Strange, joins the team, and they form a team called the Defenders. And that's going to be a little bit different than the Defenders we're going to see on Netflix with Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Cage, and Daredevil. So that was the first iteration, I believe, of the Defenders. I might be wrong. So we'll talk about that. But that is my number 2 pick, the Silver Surfer. On to number 1. Don, your number 1 pick.
My number 1 pick, not Star Wars related.
Wow. Okay, good. Good. This is going to change it up a little bit.
My number 1 pick is the Prince of All Saiyans, Vegeta. Now, if you don't know Dragon Ball Z, oh man, you're missing out.
Okay, so off air, you're going to have to give me a 50,000 foot view. Let's do it.
So, wow, I got to give you a little Dragon Ball Z rundown really quick.
Do it. Yeah. Do it up.
Okay, so I'm surprised you've never heard like the big debate of who would win, Goku versus Superman.
I've heard of Goku.
Okay. Well, so I couldn't pick Goku. Goku's very lame, very cookie cutter. He's not for me. Vegeta enters the show as a villain. Now, he's the Prince of All Saiyans. Goku's a Saiyan. So Goku was a low level, sent away from planet Vegeta before it was destroyed. And Vegeta was also away from the planet. That's how he's alive. Because there's only a few Saiyans left in existence. Vegeta comes to Earth to find out where these Dragon Balls are. Because these Dragon Balls can grant you one wish, yada, yada, yada. So
it's power. It's power, pretty much.
No. You get the 7 Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
You can summon Shenron, who's this mystical dragon, who will grant you one wish. Vegeta wants to wish for immortality so he can take down the tyrant who destroyed his planet. His name is Frieza. So I can't get into great detail with everything because it will just go insane. So Vegeta and Goku have this rivalry right from the get-go. Like, Goku beats Vegeta, but like they end up fighting again. They end up teaming up and fighting on a different planet. Gets to a point where they end up building this mutual respect for each other. And Vegeta finds out, like, much later on in the series that Goku's attained, like, a level that he could just never get to. And there's, like, this evil sorcerer who Vegeta gets taken over by. I do the little air quotes because...
People can see us now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he lets this evil sorcerer, Babidi, take control of him so it will push his power through the roof. So we see like the ultimate showdown between Goku and Vegeta, and they beat the hell out of each other. At the same time, like this battle that they're having is creating so much energy that it releases Boo, which is like the big monster that you've been waiting for, like that they had to stop and this and that. So they end up talking to each other and saying, all right, we'll finish this battle later, blah, blah, blah. Goku goes to turn around to fly off to go see, what happened with Boo hatching. Vegeta knocks him down. Vegeta goes by himself. He goes and he puts up such an incredible fight against this creature, Majin Buu. But it's all for naught because this Boo just keeps regenerating himself. The whole time his son is watching this battle. And he sees his father taking a vicious, vicious beating and flies down, boom, kicks this big fat blob Majin Buu off him. And there's a scene where, he frees his father and he's talking with his father, and his father just tells him, son, I've never told you this, but you've made me proud. Take care of your mother. And boom, knocks his son out. I'm telling you guys, like, it brought a tear to my eye. It was
It's
that
powerful.
It really was. Like, for anybody who knows Dragon Ball Z, anybody who knows me knows I love Dragon Ball Z, knows I love Vegeta. You guys should give it a shot. There's way too many episodes.
Dragon Ball's been going on for a long time now. Like, when did it start?
So regular Dragon Ball, which is just a story of Goku, started maybe like mid-'80s, somewhere in that
It's been a
time.
long time.
I used to like wake up in like 3rd grade at 5 a.m. just to catch one episode a week.
That's
like,
passion.
Yeah, and then it just rolled over into high school, and it just
Yeah, because in the 80s, that content wasn't like it's didn't have the availability that it does now. The
No.
anime type content.
Definitely not. You had to wake up on like 5 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday on Fox. It came on after a show called Hamtaro, which was
I
like
remember Hamtaro.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. Like you would get those glimpses of anime really quick, and that was it. But yeah, man, Vegeta. You guys, if you watch the show for nothing else, man, watch it for Vegeta. Vegeta's incredible.
Excellent number one pick. Before we get into your number one pick, KB, I just want to give a shout out. Somebody's saying that Venom should be on the list, and I disagree wholeheartedly because Venom is overpowered, and I'm going to get flack from that from certain people. And you can give me how I just think he's gotten over, like kind of like Wolverine to an extent. Like he's just overplayed way too much now. He's kind of like, well, maybe not even Venom, but maybe the whole symbiote thing. Maybe that's what I'm having an issue with. But somebody's saying Venom. That's a great pick. Not my pick, but good pick. And I'm glad you're engaged. I'm glad you're commenting. So thank you. He knows who he is. He's a buddy of mine. I'm busting his balls. KB, who's your number one?
So again, back to the video games. Isaac Clarke from Dead Space.
I never played Dead Space.
Okay. Dead Space is one of those games. I'll explain a little bit then. Dead Space is basically a space sci-fi horror game. Really, really scary game. Like if you've never played the first one, you should play, even if you just played the first hour of it, just to feel it. Because it's so dark and gruesome. But basically, this guy, Isaac Clarke, he's just an engineer. He's not a soldier at all. But he has a really cool suit because the engineers have these cool suits. Basically, his girlfriend, this girl Nicole, she's on this ship called the USG Ishimura, and the ship goes missing. And when they find it, they get a distress call, and they find it, and they go on a rescue mission. So he goes on the rescue mission as the engineer to fix the ship. When they get there, they find there's nobody on the ship.
Uh-huh.
And he's, looking for his girlfriend. In the first game, his character's totally silent, doesn't speak, which is another interesting thing. But getting on the ship, what they come to find out is that there's this thing on the ship called the Marker, and it's this giant statue-like thing. And basically what it does is people get obsessed with it, and they ended up creating like a religion called unitology. And it's these things come out of the Marker, and they basically, the people start going mad, and they turn into these necromorphs, these creatures, and it's gruesome, it's violent, it's crazy, and he ends up being like almost the only person on the ship. There's some other people spread about, but he's fighting these things. And there's an opening scene where you're running down the hallway from one, and you hear all the noise, and if you have a surround sound and the lights out, it's just like, wow. Like, your heart is just, like, pounding, trying to get to the end of the hallway.
This game was actually rated one of the scariest games
of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just fantastic. And the thing is, it's the mental... it's like the mental craziness and the things this guy has to go through. Because remember, he's just an engineer. He's not a soldier.
Yeah.
But his engineering suit has all these cool things. They have a kinesis module to like push things and throw objects.
Yep.
And it has a stasis module to freeze or slow things down. So that combined with a plasma cutter,
Yep.
he can freeze an alien and cut their limbs off with the plasma cutter. And then he's also an engineer, so he finds weapons and he can build weapons and tweak them and all this stuff. And you can do all that stuff in the game. So it's really, really interesting. Fantastic game. And at the end of the first game, it's so crazy because these things, they get in your head. And he was like seeing his girlfriend and thinking that she was alive. And at the end, we come to find out, spoiler alert, but game's so old now. But she committed suicide. She finds a video when she actually committed suicide. And then he kind of goes insane and comes back and has to fight again in the second game. But by the third game with that, basically he so badass he went up against an entire planet of necromorphs and destroying it.
Wow.
So it's just so awesome. And it's all there's none on the new console. I think there's rumored to be a Dead Space 4. But if you haven't checked those games out, thing is those games are so cheap now. If you want to go back and play them, you can find it for like $10. You know what I mean? You'll get more than your money's worth, and you'll enjoy it. You're looking for something super scary. That first one, scary. The second two turned out to be more like shooters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that first one, definitely you doing yourself, like you said, like with Dragon Ball, you're almost doing yourself a disservice not checking it out because that first one's scary as hell. So, yeah, Isaac Clarke, man, that's my number one.
Very cool, KB. Before I get into my number one, you're watching the video right now, right? The live streaming. Do you see the comment from Heath Patine, buddy of mine?
Yeah.
Do you feel like doing that?
Kakarot, you fool!
That was actually pretty good.
Thank you.
So
I like Predator as a pick too, though.
Predator is a good pick. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rich. And Heath, that was for you, buddy of mine. Do you know Heath?
I don't know,
Oh,
Heath.
he's a buddy of mine from high school. He's a good kid. But yeah, so that's awesome too. So thank you guys for commenting. That's awesome. Moving on to my number one, and I stuck to comics. This time I went out of the Marvel realm and I went into DC though.
Womp womp.
This gentleman is from the planet Korugar, and he was married to Abin Sur's, Hal Jordan's predecessor, Abin Sur's sister. So Abin Sur is the one that passed his ring to Hal Jordan. Sinestro started off as an anthropologist on his planet, reconstructing old ruins that have been decimated. Green Lantern Prol Gusgotha crashed into one of the sites Sinestro was working on. Gusgotha was injured and gave Sinestro his ring. Sinestro defended himself from the pursuers of Gusgotha, and the ruins ended up getting destroyed as Sinestro was defending himself. Gusgotha, after the pursuers were backed off, he wanted the ring back so he could summon the core because he was gravely injured. Sinestro let him die. Move forward, Sinestro now is a Green Lantern. He doesn't just want to protect everybody, but he needs to keep order. So he uses his power to rule Korugar as its dictator, and he uses fear to rule them. He's eventually punished by the Guardians of the Universe and banished to the planet Quord. The race of that planet, Weaponers of Quord, hate the Green Lanterns. So Sinestro now also hates the Green Lanterns. When the Guardians of the Universe hoped it would humble him, he actually just grew to hate them, and he ended up teaming up with the Weaponers of Quord, and they essentially created him a yellow power ring, creating the Sinestro Corps in conjunction with that. So his essence was later trapped in the Green Lantern Central Power Battery, where he discovered the living entity of fear, Parallax, which also coincidentally led to Hal Jordan being affected with Parallax. And then later on, after using his ring, Sinestro created his own core. The New 52 kind of put him back in the Green Lanterns, and then they kind of spinned him off to another solo series with the core. But I just love the fact that this guy had a taste of power, wanted to do good with it, but is such a dick on the way he does it. And I think that's what I love about characters, is that what makes them conflicted, that they have this urge to do good, but their vision of the way they want to do it is oppressing other people. And he's more of a dictator than, a protector. And I really like the kind of the dichotomy between him and Hal, with Hal, obviously, being fearless, and he has the power to overcome great fear. And now Sinestro is the embodiment of fear, and just the rivalry that they have from being like partners. And Sinestro was like, kind of teaching, and he was the mentor of Hal Jordan when Jordan first became a Green Lantern, to now to be from his mentor to his greatest enemy. And it's just, I really just like that back and forth between those two characters.
Jeffrey, you were reading the new Hal Jordan and Green Lanterns?
I am.
I like
I'm
it.
a few
Really
issues
good.
behind, but
It's
yeah,
good.
there's a lot there. But
Yeah.
that's my number one pick, Sinestro.
It's a good pick. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
so-
was going to put him. I was going to put him in my list.
So that about wraps up the show. But before we do our housekeeping at the end, again, folks, you see behind, or in front of rather, all these great figurines. We have a Cody box. This is a giveaway that we're doing from our friends, our sponsor, Unique Customs. Share this video either now or after this live stream ends, and the video is going to be around on our Facebook page. Share it by Monday, November 21st, I believe
21st.
it is. The 21st, Wise Ass Podcast here at 59 Media is going to pick one name for anyone that shares it, and you're going to win that free Cody box. And again, it's an open system. It's free. You can watch live TV. You can load movies, television shows, any apps you use, Hulu, Netflix, anything along those lines, you can load it on this box and have a free streaming device, courtesy of Unique Customs. So share this video, share the podcast, and be entered to win. Drawing is held Monday afternoon on the Wise Ass Podcast. So before we get out, this is where we like to throw up the little bat signal. Don, first and foremost, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, man, it's awesome
you're
having
welcome
you on.
back anytime. If you want to be a regular, you can be that third seat. I want to give a quick shout out though to Mike Prue, who says when we do that Westworld show, he needs to be in that fourth seat. So
That would be great.
Mike, you know how to get in touch with me, so please, anytime you want to be on, when we get that show, just remind me that you want to be on. We'll put that out there, and I got to catch up to it. KB's going to watch it, so
Yeah,
it'll be a while.
yeah.
But yeah, you're definitely coming back on that. So, Don, anything from your side? Any social media stuff you want to put out there, or you just kind of want to just chill with the geeks?
Any thoughts?
Yeah, closing thoughts.
I'm really, really happy to be on. This was really cool. I like-minded individuals. You guys geek out over the cool stuff. I don't really do like the social media stuff. I tried to broadcast some gaming and I don't
With
know,
Twitch and stuff like
with
that.
Twitch
Yeah.
and YouTube. I get like nervous, and then like I get discouraged because people have already done it before, like stuff that I try to do. Maybe when Final Fantasy comes out, I'll do like a
Give it another shot.
Yeah, another
Well,
shot.
you'll be
reaction.
on the show when that comes out. You can give if you want to give that your Twitch stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe
mean-
maybe we can post some of his content.
Yeah, we
to
have
our
a YouTube page.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
we can do that. KB, anything else you want to add?
Check out all of our Comic-Con stuff on Facebook if you haven't
Yeah,
checked it
so
out yet.
our Facebook page, Free Your Geek. If you're watching this video, you're on our Facebook page, or somebody's sharing it. You have a link to the Facebook page. Check that out. We went to Rhode Island Comic Con. We're going to be talking
Awesome
a little bit
time.
about that.
Yep.
It was a great time. We got lots of pictures. We met some really cool celebrities. I met Casper Crump, who plays Vandal Savage, Legends of Tomorrow. Absolutely amazing.
Yep.
KB, you met a bunch of people
Yep,
from Sons.
Yep,
and
I met Robin Lord Taylor.
Robin Lord Taylor,
Great
the
guy.
Penguin. Yeah.
Yep, great guy.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We didn't get a chance to talk about it today, but we did go. The pictures are up there. We have some videos. We have an interview with Ming Chen from Comic Book Man.
that was awesome.
He saw us and we were walking by. He's like, "Oh, I love the shirts." And I've met him previously at Heroes and Villains Fan Fest back in July. He remembered me.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll do an interview," and we took out my iPhone and started recording.
That's great.
It was
Threw
awesome.
some edits, and we're sharing that on our
Yeah,
Facebook
it was
page,
awesome.
on our Twitter. But so we have also on our Facebook page. We do it every week.
Covers of the week.
Covers of the week. KB does Marvel. I do DC. Our favorite covers that have come out that week. What else we got? We got our YouTube page, Free Your Geek on YouTube. So we got that Ming Chen interview. I'm constantly thinking of ideas. We're going to be working on that, but that's our first major thing. I play WWE 2K17. I had the Macho Man versus Rick Rude. I put up the finish of that match if anybody gives a crap about that.
Yeah. Dig it, thinking, brother.
That was just the horrible impersonation, but that's okay. What else do we have? We have Twitter, Free Your Geek on Twitter. Tweet us, hit us up on Facebook, like our page. What else, KB? I'm forgetting something.
Jay Free the Geek.
Jay
That's
Free
it.
the Geek on my website, jfreethegeek.com. KB remembers all this because
Yeah.
he's used to saying it.
Yeah, catch us on Podbean too.
Podbean,
iTunes.
yeah, iTunes,
We're all over the
Stitcher,
place, man.
Free Your Geek. Just type that into Google, or as they say, GTS. Google that stuff, and just look us up. We'll hit us up. Let us know feedback. What do you want to hear?
Yeah.
What do you want to see? I heard
Ideas.
Rich wants to be on. Rich, you're more than welcome on. We'll work something out. You can talk about your films. Rich is a buddy of mine. He's doing some independent films. He's an independent filmmaker. He's doing some shorts. He's got a really good mind for it's all like horror genre. He's got a really good mind for that stuff. So once that starts rolling around, we'll plug that. Mike Prue, who's been on the show before, he wants to come on for Westworld. We'll have that. Don's going to be on probably if he likes doing this. We'll keep doing this. So KB, we're going to go out with our theme, but just hit him with our catchphrases.
Yep. Start your weekend with your geek friends and get your geek on.
Later, folks.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.